I only meant to stay like that for 5 more minutes. That's the part I still come back to. Not the morning, not the sound at the door, not even the way I froze when I realized I'd run out of time. It was those 5 minutes. That was the lie I kept telling myself all night. Just 5 more minutes. I said it the first time at a little after 1 in the morning, standing in front of the mirror by the hallway table, wearing a soft gray skirt and a thin black top I'd bought 3 weeks earlier and still hadn't had the nerve to wear for more than a few minutes at a time. The apartment was quiet in that late night way where every small sound feels louder than it should. The fridge humming, somebody upstairs dropping something, water moving through the pipes in the wall behind the bathroom. I lived with one roommate, Nina. We weren't especially close, but we were close enough to know each other's routines. She was supposed to be out all night at her sister's place and wouldn't be back until late the next morning, maybe closer to noon. I remember checking that twice. At 10:43, she'd texted, "Staying over. Don't wait up, staying over." I read it again around midnight, just to feel safe. That's how it usually worked for me. Not courage, just timing. I never thought of what I did as some big performance. It wasn't dramatic in my head. It was a private routine. Something quiet, something I only let exist when the apartment felt completely mine. I kept my clothes in a dark blue duffel bag, shoved behind old winter blankets in the back of my closet. If someone opened the closet quickly, they'd never notice it. That was the idea anyway. I'd gotten good at making everything look accidental, ordinary, forgettable. That night, I pulled the bag out and set it on my bed, like I always did, careful, almost respectful. Inside it was everything folded too neatly, like I was trying to prove something to myself. A cream sweater, 2 skirts, black tights, a pale blue blouse I'd bought online and nearly returned 3 times, a pair of flats that made almost no sound on the floor, nothing flashy, nothing that would make sense to anyone else, just things that felt right when no one was there to watch me wear them. At first, I moved slowly, like I always did. I locked my bedroom door, even though I knew I was alone. I turned off the overhead light and kept only the lamp on by the bed because it felt softer, safer somehow. I changed, sat down, stood up again, adjusted the hem, looked at myself, looked away, then looked back. That part always took the longest. Not getting dressed, looking. There was always a strange minute at the start where I could feel both versions of myself at once. The one everyone saw every day, and the quieter one that only showed up behind a locked door after midnight. For a few seconds they sat badly together, like 2 images not lining up. Then something settled. My shoulders dropped. My breathing changed. I stopped feeling like I was pretending and started feeling like I'd finally stopped pretending. That's when time always got slippery for me. I told myself I'd only wear the first outfit for a few minutes, just enough to stand in it, just enough to feel it. Then I'd change back, pack everything away, go to sleep, wake up normal. But then I tried the cream sweater with the skirt, and it looked better than I expected. Softer. More like the version of me I always seemed to get closest to for only a second at a time. So I stayed in it. Just 5 more minutes. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at myself in the long mirror on the closet door. Then I stood up again because sitting wrinkled the skirt. Then I laughed at myself for caring about that. I took a few pictures on my phone and deleted them right away. I always deleted them right away. I never trusted myself to keep them, even hidden. A little later, I changed into the blue blouse, then back into the sweater. Then I tried the tights with the other skirt because I wanted to know if the color worked. Then I changed again because the first skirt still felt better. That was the whole night, really. Nothing dramatic. Just little decisions that kept extending the night by 10 minutes at a time. I think people imagine a secret like that has to look wild or reckless. Mine mostly looked like standing very still in bad apartment lighting, touching the sleeve of a sweater, and thinking, no, not yet. Around 2:30, I went to the kitchen for water and caught my reflection in the microwave door. It startled me for a second, not because I looked ridiculous, more because I looked calm. That almost never happened. Usually there was some anxiety mixed into it, some rush, some guilt, a part of me counting the seconds until I had to stop. But that night, the apartment felt sealed off from the world. The curtains were drawn. The building was quiet. My phone was face down on the counter. Nobody needed anything from me. I remember leaning against the kitchen sink in that outfit, barefoot, drinking water from a glass, and thinking I should go change. Instead, I went back to my room and tried on the flats. That's when I should have known the night was slipping away from me, because once the shoes were on, the whole thing changed. It stopped feeling like I was testing clothes. It stopped feeling finished. I stood in front of the mirror again and didn't look away this time. There are these small moments that probably sound silly if you've never had to hide from yourself. A sleeve sitting right on your wrist, the shape of a skirt when you turn a little, and it follows half a second later, the quiet click of a flat shoe on the floor, the way your body relaxes when something finally matches the picture you've had in your head for years, but only in fragments. That's what kept me there, not vanity, relief. At some point, I sat on the floor beside the bed and started sorting through the bag, like maybe there was something in there I'd forgotten. I found an old hair clip I didn't even use, a pair of earrings I'd never once been brave enough to wear outside the apartment, a folded receipt from a shop across town where the cashier hadn't looked at me twice. That receipt had a date on it from 4 months earlier. I remember staring at that longer than I should have. 4 months of buying things in secret. 4 months of hiding the bag. 4 months of waiting for these little scraps of time. And still, I could only let myself have an hour here, 20 minutes there. That thought did something to me. It made me stubborn, like the night owed me more than it was giving. Instead, I went into the bathroom and turned on the light over the sink. It was harsher in there, too white, too honest. I almost changed back then. I really did. I was standing in front of the mirror, one hand at the hem of the sweater, ready to pull it off, and then I caught this look on my own face that I didn't see very often. Not happiness exactly, more like peace, but careful, like I'd wandered into a room I wasn't supposed to know existed, and for once nobody was pushing me out of it. So when I looked at the clock and saw it was already after 3, I didn't panic. I just did the stupidest thing possible. I told myself I still had time. Just 5 more minutes. The apartment had changed by then. You could feel it. The air was colder. The walls seemed thinner. Somewhere outside, a car door slammed and sounded closer than it was. I noticed the darkness at the edges of the curtains wasn't fully black anymore. That should have been enough. So I left the bathroom light on and went back to my room. That's the part that still gets me. How calm I was, right before everything tilted. By 4, the building started making morning sounds. Not daylight yet, just those early signals. Water running next door, a front door downstairs, a faint rumble from the street. I heard all of it. I registered every single sound, and still, somehow, I stayed. I told myself Nina wouldn't be back until late morning. I told myself dawn wasn't the same thing as morning. I told myself I'd change as soon as the sky looked lighter. Then the sky looked lighter. Then I said, after I fold everything, then, after I wipe my phone screen, then, after I try the blue blouse one more time. It sounds ridiculous now, and maybe it was, but when you don't get much time to be honest, even with nobody around, you start bargaining with reality. You think you can squeeze 1 more minute out of it. 5:30 came quietly, not with sunlight, just with a softer darkness. The curtains had a thin silver edge. The mirror no longer needed the lamp to show me everything. My room looked like itself again, which was somehow worse. The bed unmade, the duffel bag open, a pair of tights half folded on the chair, my regular clothes in a heap by the door where I'd dropped them hours earlier. The spell had started to break. I knew it then. I even bent down and picked up my jeans. And that's when my phone buzzed, just once. A message from Nina. Train got in early, grabbing coffee. Be home soon. I read it so fast, I almost didn't understand it. Then I read it again and felt that cold drop in my stomach. Be home soon. Not in an hour, not later, soon. I looked at the time, 5:41. For a second, I just stood there with my jeans in one hand and my phone in the other. My room suddenly looked impossible. Too many things out, too many signs. The open closet, the bag, the shoes, the clothes on the bed. My own heartbeat, loud enough to make me feel stupid. That should have been the moment I moved fast. But panic does this strange thing where it steals a few seconds before it gives them back. I put the phone down, then picked it up again. I kicked off one shoe, but not the other. I pulled open the closet and stared at the blankets like I'd never seen them before. Then I heard something from the hallway outside the apartment. Not our hallway inside, the building hallway. Footsteps. I went completely still. There's a certain kind of silence that isn't really silence. It's your body listening harder than it ever has, every muscle waiting, every breath feeling too loud. I stood there in the middle of my room, half turned toward the bed, half turned toward the door, and heard keys jingle on the other side of the apartment door. That was it. No time to change. No time to hide anything properly. No time to become the version of me people recognized. I think I actually whispered, "No, no, no," but quietly, like I was embarrassed to even panic. The front door lock clicked once, then again, then the door opened. Nina came in with a paper coffee cup tray in one hand and her tote bag over her shoulder. I could hear the door shut, the soft drop of her keys into the bowl by the entrance, the normal sounds of somebody coming home. I still had one flat shoe on. That detail has never left me. One shoe on, one off. Like I'd been interrupted halfway through becoming someone and halfway through undoing it. My bedroom door was open. I don't know if she saw me immediately or only after taking 2 steps inside, but I heard her movement stop, really stop, not the distracted pause people do when they're checking their phone, a full stop. I looked up. She was standing in the short hallway between the front door and the kitchen, the morning light behind her, 2 coffee cups tilted slightly in the cardboard tray. Her eyes moved once, just once, from my face to the sweater, to the skirt, to the open bag on the bed behind me, then back to my face. Nobody says this part out loud, but eye contact is what makes it real. Not being seen, being looked at long enough to know the other person understands what they're seeing. I think I expected shock or confusion or one of those careful fake neutral expressions people use when they want to pretend something didn't happen. But Nina just looked tired, not in a bad way, just human, like she'd been up too early and had walked into more truth than she was prepared for before coffee. I opened my mouth and nothing came out. She shifted the tray in her hands. Then, very quietly, she said, "I got 2 by habit. That was it. Not what are you wearing? Not since when? Not oh, just that." I stared at her, and I remember hating how quickly my eyes filled. Not full crying, just that hot sting that comes when you've been bracing for one thing and get handed something gentler. I said the first stupid thing I could think of. "I thought you'd be later." She gave the smallest nod. "Yeah," she said. "Train was early." Then she looked toward the kitchen, then back at me, giving me a way out without pretending I wasn't standing there. "I can go in there for a minute," she said. "If you want." I don't know why that line stayed with me more than anything else, but it did. If you want. Like I still had a choice. Like I wasn't cornered. Like I wasn't being granted mercy, so much as being left with some dignity. I nodded because I couldn't trust my voice. She went into the kitchen. Not rushed, not awkward, just enough. I stood there for maybe 3 seconds after she disappeared, still not moving, like my body had forgotten how. Then everything hit me at once. I changed as fast as I could. Not neatly, not carefully. I pulled on my jeans with trembling hands, dragged the sweater over my head, nearly tore one of the tights, shoved the clothes into the duffel without folding any of them. The room looked worse after I tried to fix it. More obvious somehow. When I came out, she was at the counter, pouring coffee into 2 mugs. She didn't look up right away. She was giving me those extra 2 seconds people give when they know someone's trying to steady themselves. Then she slid 1 mug toward the empty side of the counter and said, "I wasn't sure how much sugar you take." Normal voice, same as always. I sat down because standing felt impossible. The kitchen looked exactly like it always did in the morning. Dish towel by the sink, her half-dead plant on the windowsill, the weak yellow light over the stove, but none of it felt the same. I kept waiting for her to ask. She didn't. After a while, she just said, "You don't have to explain anything before coffee." And that nearly undid me, more than being caught, because it told me she knew I had explanations ready, that I'd probably had them ready for years. And she was, very gently, not asking for them. We sat there for a minute, maybe 2, with the early light slowly filling the kitchen. I could hear birds outside, which I normally hated because they always sounded too cheerful, too early. That morning they sounded unreal. I don't remember much else that was said after that. A few ordinary things, maybe. Something about the train. Something about how she was tired. What I remember is the feeling, the strange quiet after. The fact that the world didn't end. The fact that I'd spent so long thinking discovery would be one loud, permanent disaster. And instead, it was a woman in an oversized coat, setting down her keys and saying she'd accidentally bought 2 coffees. We never had a big talk about it. Not that day. Not for a while. But after that morning, I stopped burying the duffel bag as far back in the closet. Not out in the open. Not all at once. Just less hidden. And now, when I think about that night, I still don't really think of it as the morning I got caught. I think of it as the morning I stayed too long. Because that's the truth. I stayed in front of the mirror too long. I kept trying on 1 more outfit. I kept saying 5 more minutes like time would listen, and somehow that mistake became one of the clearest memories I have. Not because it was dramatic, because it wasn't, because the light was soft, because the apartment was ordinary, because I was still half-dressed in panic and half-dressed in relief, because someone saw me in the exact moment I had no time left to hide, and the first thing she offered me was space. Even now, years later, I still remember the sound of her keys in the bowl by the door. I still remember that 1 shoe on my foot, and I still remember how the room looked when the night was over and there was nothing left to do but be seen.